What happens when America's sweetheart finally snaps on live television? When the cameras are rolling and millions are watching, the polished mask can slip, and suddenly, we see the real person underneath. Today we're breaking down one of the most shocking moments in morning TV history. The day Kelly Clarkson lost her composure during what should have been a routine promotional interview. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. What do you think really pushed Kelly over the edge? The Today Show studio buzzed with its usual morning energy. Coffee cups steamed on nearby desks. Production assistants darted around with clipboards. The low hum of live television filled the air. Creig Melvin sat across from Kelly Clarkson under flawless studio lighting. To viewers at home, it looked like a standard setup. A warm chat about her latest projects, a few laughs, and then on to the next segment. 30 seconds! The floor director called out, his voice cutting through the bustle. Kelly adjusted her blazer, checking her reflection in the side monitor. She'd done this countless times before, promoting albums, tours, appearances. Easy, familiar. Craig skimmed his notes one last time, though he barely needed them. The questions were mapped out in his head. Nothing controversial, nothing unusual. And we're live in 5, 4, 3. The countdown ended with a silent point. Welcome back to Today. I'm Craig Melvin, joined this morning by Grammy-winning superstar Kelly Clarkson. His practiced smile gleamed. Thanks for having me, Craig. Always love being here, Kelly replied, her media polish on full display. But in her eyes, if you looked close, there was a flicker of tension. So, let's start with your new album, Craig said smoothly. You've been working on it for 2 years now. What can fans expect? Kelly leaned forward, hands clasped. This album is very personal. It's about growth, finding your voice again after major life changes. I think anyone who's had to rebuild themselves will connect with it. Craig nodded. Speaking of rebuilding, you've been open about your divorce proceedings. How has that experience shaped your music? A beat. Kelly's smile wavered, just for a moment. Then she steadied herself. I've always processed life through music. When you face hard times, you can either let them break you, or turn that pain into something meaningful. And I think that's what fans love about you. Your honesty. Craig pressed. But I have to ask, and forgive me if this is sensitive, there have been reports about custody and financial disputes. How do you balance being open in your songs with protecting your kids' privacy? Kelly's posture shifted. Shoulders tight. She leaned back. As I've said before, my kids are my priority. Every decision I make is with them in mind. Of course, Craig said, nodding. But when you're writing songs about learning to trust again, or about lies and broken promises, aren't you really letting the world peek inside what went wrong in your marriage? Kelly's tone sharpened. Art has always been about making the personal universal. That's what artists do. Craig gave a quick laugh that didn't quite land. Sure, but when you sing about someone who took everything and left you with nothing in a song called Court Date Blues, you're not really speaking in metaphors, are you? Kelly blinked, stunned. I'm sorry. What song? I don't have a track called Court Date Blues on my album. Craig glanced at his notes, confidence slipping. Well, according to our research. Then your research team got it wrong. Kelly cut in, her voice suddenly cold. And honestly, Craig, I came here to talk about my music. Not to relitigate my personal life on national television. Of course, Craig said quickly, trying to recover. But you know your fans care. When you're going through something so public. Public? Kelly's voice rose. Craig, I've been as private as possible given the circumstances. I've never once spoken badly about my ex-husband. I've never dragged our issues into interviews. I've tried to handle this with as much dignity as I can. The air in the studio shifted. The light morning show warmth had evaporated, replaced by a heavy, unmistakable tension. Camera operators exchanged uneasy glances. The floor director inched closer to the set, bracing for impact. Something was about to go off the rails. Sensing control slipping away, Creig doubled down. But Kelly, isn't it true there were allegations of financial impropriety? Sources close to the situation have suggested, stop. Kelly's hand shot up, eyes blazing. Just stop right there, Creig. What sources? What allegations? Are you seriously going to sit here and repeat tabloid gossip as if it's fact? Creig shifted, fumbling. Well, these reports came from reputable entertainment journalists. Reputable? Kelly let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Creig, do you have kids? The question blindsided him. He blinked, caught off guard. Yes, I do. Then, you should understand. There are lines you don't cross. There are things you don't say about someone's family, about their children, based on what some anonymous source whispered to a blogger. The studio went dead silent. No shuffling crew, no background chatter. Just the hum of live equipment. Creig leaned forward, his voice straining for calm. Kelly, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not trying to attack you, or your family. I'm just asking the questions our viewers want answered. Our viewers. Kelly suddenly stood. The mic pack tugged at her blazer as she loomed over him. Creig, viewers tuned in to hear about my music. They tuned in to maybe learn something new about an artist they support. Not to watch you ambush me with fake song titles and recycled gossip. Creig stayed seated, visibly rattled. I assure you there was no ambush intended. These questions were submitted to your publicist in advance. That's a lie. The words cracked through the studio like thunder. My publicist made it clear this was about my album and my tour. Not custody battles, not finances, and certainly not some fiction your research team cobbled together off gossip sites. The tension was suffocating now. Crew members froze, eyes darting from Kelly to Creig. The warmth of a morning show had evaporated. This was something else entirely. Kelly, please. Creig tried again, his voice taking on a placating edge. Let's just take a breath. Don't you dare tell me to take a breath, Kelly snapped, her voice trembling with fury. You sit there with your little stack of lies and then have the audacity to tell me to calm down when I call you. Out? No. Creig's eyes flicked toward the control room, silently begging for intervention. But the red light on the camera glowed steady. They were still live. Millions were watching. Look, maybe we should cut to commercial, Creig muttered weakly. Oh, no. Kelly shot back, holding up her hand. You wanted this conversation on air, Creig. So let's have it. You want to talk about my divorce? Fine. Let's talk about how you just fabricated a song title. Court Date Blues? Really? Did your research team invent that on the spot? Or did you come up with that gem yourself? Creig flushed crimson. There may have been some confusion in our notes. Confusion? Kelly's laugh was sharp, bitter. That's what you're calling it? You just accused me of writing a song about court dates and custody battles, based on nothing. Do you even realize how reckless that is? Kelly, I apologize if there was an error. If there was an error. She was incredulous now. Craig, you just told millions of people that I wrote a song called Court Date Blues. That song doesn't exist. It never existed. But now, it's out there in the universe, because you couldn't be bothered to fact-check. The floor director waved frantically, signaling Craig to wrap it up. But Kelly wasn't finished. And you know what's really rich about this? Her voice rose, filling the studio. You sit there pretending to care about protecting children's privacy while dragging my kids into this mess. Do you think they won't hear this? Do you think their classmates won't see clips of their mom being grilled about custody arrangements on national television? Craig tried to interject, his voice weak. That wasn't my intention. I don't care about your intentions, Kelly exploded. I care about your actions, and your actions today have been unprofessional, irresponsible, and frankly, disgusting. The studio was frozen, every camera locked, every crew member holding their breath. America's sweetheart had reached her breaking point, and the mask was gone. The word disgusting landed like a physical blow. Craig's media training seemed to vanish as he fumbled for footing. Kelly, I think you're overreacting. Overreacting? Kelly's voice shot up an octave. She leaned toward him, eyes burning. Craig, are you married? Yes, he answered cautiously. Good for you. Now imagine this. Your marriage falls apart. It's messy. It's painful. You're doing everything you can to hold your family together while lawyers and judges make decisions about your kids' lives. Got that picture in your head? Craig nodded, visibly uncomfortable. Now imagine you go on a talk show to promote something you've poured your heart into. And instead of talking about your work, the host invents lies about songs you never wrote and drags your family into the spotlight. Still think I'm overreacting? The studio was silent. Not a whisper, not a shuffle. Even the hum of production equipment seemed muted under the weight of her words. Craig swallowed hard. Kelly, I really do apologize. Maybe we could start over and focus on the album. Start over. Kelly shook her head slowly, incredulity written across her face. Craig, you can't unsay what you just said. You can't take back making up a song title on live television and using it to humiliate me. I wasn't trying to humiliate anyone. Then what were you trying to do? She fired back. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you wanted a cheap gotcha moment at my expense. Craig glanced desperately toward the control room again. We're going to a quick commercial. Oh, are we? Kelly cut in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Or are you just saying that because you realize you've completely screwed this up and now you want to run away? I'm trying to be professional here, Kelly. Professional? Kelly barked out a laugh, sharp and joyless. Nothing about this has been professional. Professional would have been asking me about my music, my tour dates, my creative process, not ambushing me with fake song titles and invasive questions about my divorce. Craig was sweating now, his posture collapsing under the glare of the studio lights. I understand you're upset. Upset doesn't even cover it. Kelly cut him off, her voice trembling with fury. I'm furious. I'm humiliated. And I'm disappointed. I've been coming on this show for years, Craig. Years. I've always been professional, always been gracious, always given you good television. And this is how you repay me. The betrayal in her tone finally seemed to sink in. For the first time. Craig looked like he understood the damage he had done. Kelly, Save it! She snapped, reaching for the mic pack at her waist. I'm done with this interview. I'm done with this show. And I'm definitely done with you. She began unhooking the microphone, the movement deliberate and final. Creig made one last desperate plea. "Kelly, please, don't leave. We can fix this. We can talk about your music." Kelly froze, her hands on the mic cord, and stared down at him with sheer disbelief. "Fix this?" she repeated slowly. "Creig, you just spent the last 10 minutes trying to destroy my reputation on live television with information your team clearly pulled out of thin air. How exactly do you propose to fix that?" Craig's mouth opened, then closed again. Nothing came out. He was broken, speechless. "That's what I thought," Kelly said quietly, her voice carrying like thunder in the silent studio. She straightened, her eyes cold. "You know the saddest part. I actually used to respect you. I thought you were one of the good ones. Turns out I was wrong about that too." The silence stretched, suffocating. Creig sat slumped in his chair, face flushed with humiliation, while Kelly stood above him like a storm that had just ripped through everything in its path. The red camera light blinked steadily. Every second of this meltdown was being broadcast to millions. Kelly's voice dropped into a chilling calm. "Since you're so interested in my personal life, Creig, let me share something real with you. When I was going through my divorce, when I was sitting in lawyers' offices, trying to explain to my kids why their world was falling apart, do you know what kept me going?" "Kelly, you don't have to—" Creig tried weakly. "I kept going because I believed people were decent." She pressed on, ignoring him. "I believed if I handled things with grace and dignity, if I focused on my kids and my work, people like you, the media, would respect those boundaries, that there were lines you wouldn't cross." She let the silence hang before landing the blow. "But you just proved me wrong, didn't you, Creig? You just showed me and everyone watching that some people will say anything, make up any story, hurt anyone, just to get a reaction, just to create a moment." Creig swallowed hard, his face pale. "Kelly, I never meant to hurt you. That was never the goal here." "What was the goal then?" Kelly pressed, her voice sharp as glass. She tilted her head slightly, studying him like a specimen under a microscope. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you wanted to create drama. You wanted to see if you could make me crack. Well, congratulations, Creig. Mission accomplished." The floor director waved his arms furiously, but the crew barely moved. No one wanted to break the spell of the moment. This wasn't just an interview gone wrong. This was a reckoning unfolding live. "You want to know what's really ironic about all this?" Kelly continued, her tone shifting from fury to a chilling calm. "I was actually excited to come here today. I couldn't wait to talk about my music, to share what this album means to me. Maybe even sing a little for your viewers. Do you know what this record is, Creig? It's my heart stitched back together. It's proof that even when your life falls apart, you can turn the pieces into something beautiful. That's what I wanted to give your audience today." Creig's shoulders slumped, his practiced posture collapsing under the weight of her words. "But instead of celebrating that, instead of giving your viewers something real and hopeful, you tried to reduce me to gossip. You made me the villain, in a story you created out of thin air." "I don't think you're a villain," Creig tried weakly. "Don't you?" Kelly shot back instantly. "Because everything about your questions said otherwise. Fake song titles, phantom sources, leading questions designed to corner me. That's not journalism. That's ambush." Creig dragged a hand through his hair, his voice cracking. "Look, maybe I approached this wrong. Maybe?" Kelly laughed without humor. "There's no maybe here. You botched this from the first question, and the worst part is, you don't even realize how badly. And now you want me to clean it up for you." Craig's desperation broke through. Then explain it to me, Kelly. Help me understand. For a long beat, she just looked at him. Measured, tired, furious. Then she answered, voice low but devastating. When someone trusts you with their story, their reputation, their time, you protect that trust. You don't ambush them. You don't lie about their work. You don't drag their kids into the spotlight. And you sure as hell don't invent facts for a cheap headline. That's not journalism, Creig. That's betrayal. With a final snap, she unclipped her microphone and set it on the desk between them. The click echoed like a gavel. But here's the part that really stings, she continued, her eyes locked on him. Even after all this, you're still trying to frame me as the problem. You call me overreacting. You say you're being professional. Creig, this isn't professionalism. It's exploitation. And you just showed the whole world exactly who you are. The studio was silent. The audience at home, the crew. Even Creig himself seemed to know this was the kind of moment that rewrites careers. Kelly finally rose, collected her purse, and turned toward the cameras. Her voice softened but didn't waver. To everyone watching, my new album is the most honest work I've ever done. It's about survival, about healing, about finding light again. I hope you'll listen to it. Not because of this circus, but because I believe it has something real to offer. Then she turned, back to Creig, who sat hunched in shame, eyes downcast. As for you, Creig, I hope you learned something. I hope you remember that behind every story, every interview, there's a human being. Maybe next time you'll treat them with the respect they deserve. And with that, Kelly Clarkson walked off the Today Show, set, leaving Creig Melvin sitting alone in the wreckage of what would undoubtedly go down as one of the most disastrous interviews in morning television history. The cameras continued to roll. As Creig sat in stunned silence, the weight of his professional humiliation settling over him like a heavy blanket. In the control room, producers scrambled to figure out how to salvage the remaining airtime. But the damage was already done. Kelly Clarkson had just delivered a masterclass in standing up for yourself, and Craig Melvin had provided an equally powerful demonstration of how quickly a career can be derailed by poor judgment and worse preparation. The aftermath of this confrontation would reverberate through the entertainment industry for months to come. But in that moment, in that studio, there was only silence and the sobering realization that some lines once crossed can never be uncrossed. So, what do you think? Did Kelly Clarkson go too far? Or was Craig Melvin completely out of line with his approach to this interview? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories from the world of entertainment.